anybody who might have seen my video yesterday, "The Devil Made Me Do It" was the subject of that video. I want you to know that today's video is sort of hand in hand with the subject that I'm going to discuss today. Today we're going to talk on the subject of who really decides on the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I'm Kurt, and today is Tuesday, the 5th of October of 2021. Welcome to everyone who's here on Rumble on the podcast and on YouTube. As usual, remember that Rumble is my preferred platform, and the subject today is who really decides. Now let me go ahead and get into my notes real quick so that we can kind of discuss exactly what it is that I'm trying to say. When it comes time to decide on the veracity of a given claim or the accuracy of a source, do you decide or does someone else? I don't think I'd go as far as the philosopher Dinesh D'Souza talked about in one or more of his videos. That individual seemed to be asserting that the world and all you sense is in your mind. I get what he's saying. I somewhat understand coming to that conclusion. That doesn't mean I totally hold with it. Even so folks make decisions as to what's true and correct and who to trust based on what they count reason. Some of the cartoons my son watches have people in them who flatly refuse to, quote, accept their reality, end of quote, accounting at things like simulations or hallucinations. The point is we allow, or don't, things to be part of what we trust. And for many, that doesn't appear to be something they do through some sort of logical process. Maybe we're all guilty of that to some degree. In fact, I would argue we are. And yes, I am including myself here. I know this, though. When I can present you a counter position to the one you hold and show you facts that support where I am, and you dismiss what I give you out of hand, it can pretty well be assumed what you're counting real may actually have little to no basis in fact. One of my favorite things is to have people not in the fray telling me what I watch happening isn't so. Maybe in your little piece of the planet, what I tell you is not a concern. As for me, there is a concern I may lose my job if I don't submit to being jabbed with an experimental, in my mind, vaccine that's supposed to protect whom? Oh, that's right, me. You can claim I'm out there all you want, but you need to be aware you're telling me things I know are true are not, and I promise I'm not alone. Who really decides who's being untruthful or a reliable source? I should think the answer is obvious. For you, that would be you. And obviously, look, it doesn't take a genius to figure out what I'm saying here is, for me, that would be me. It is true that there are people out there who are mentally unbalanced, who are unable to look after themselves and unable to do for themselves and so forth. Yeah, that's true. I'm not trying to argue that that's not the case. That's not what's going on here. I am trying to tell you that at this point, everything I know says that I'm relatively sane. I'm not going to say that I'm perfectly correct in what I believe and assume and so forth. All of that said, I'm still telling you that the person who is currently saying for me what's true, what's false, what's correct, what's not, that would be me. And I'm telling you that I have people right now insisting that I get a vaccine that hasn't had anything like the testing that, say, for example, the mumps vaccination had, which was apparently about 4 years, right? And they're expecting me to treat it like it's good. And here's the thing. So far, what the data is showing is that that's not the case. That's not the case. I'm using this as an example of various things that are going on in my life. There are other things that have been sort of a major concern recently. Lockdowns, masking, social distancing, various other things. Look, somebody pointed something out that you need to understand. And it is If you look at the data from this year and compare it to the data from last year, we have more deaths this year than we did last year with the vaccine, social distancing, masking, and lockdowns. Now, the lockdowns are mostly done. Many people are probably not following masking protocols like they maybe were at the early times that all of this was happening. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I'm going to point something out to you. Almost 2 years in, we're probably no better off than we were when we started out. And that includes with vaccines, and that includes with masking, and that includes with social distancing, and that includes with any kind of lockdowns that people happen to be doing. And literally, we've got people who are panicking over tens of cases in millions of people. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, you've got to be joking, right? You got to be joking. But here's the thing, like I say, look at where we were in 2020, in say September or October of 2020, and look at where we are. Now, it's hard to tell for October, right? Because we're in October, so it would be hard to make come to a definite conclusion about where we will end up in October. I will tell you that the surge numbers are going down again. They'll probably go back up again because there are other areas that will hit their surges, because it appears, as people have pointed out, that the COVID-19 surges are seasonal. And they're not seasonal the same in, say, Florida as they are in New Jersey. And there's a reason for that a lot of people have said is true. And I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it's not. I'm not sitting here telling you that it is. But the reason that a lot of people have used to say this is the case is that in the southern states, people go inside more in the summertime, and in the northern states and the south, northeast and so forth, I should say, New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts and so forth, they're inside more in the wintertime or the colder months of the year. So we're expecting to see surges in the northeast and in the north in general. And let me just point something out. If this is true, guess what? Nobody's really to blame for that. People are doing what people will do in those circumstances and situations, and you can't blame anybody. Those aren't, you can try and make better ventilation systems or whatever, but I don't think even with HEPA filtering and similar, you're going to end up with something that's going to keep people from potentially getting viruses as a result of being inside and more collected together and with circulating air. So the thing I'm saying to you is this. Okay, so on my original subject, who really decides? Who decides whether or not something is true? Well, it's me. I want you to bring me where I'm wrong, where what I'm telling you is false or incorrect. I want you to bring me that. I do. And I want you to tell me how I'm wrong in what I'm saying. I'm okay with that. I want to know if I'm mistaken. But as a rule, the things that most people have brought me, I've seen before, and quite frankly, I've argued against them and showed why they're not correct or true. And this is what I'm trying to get you to understand. This goes for COVID, this goes for how we're dealing with the economy, this goes for how we're dealing with Afghanistan, and so many other things. And again, look, I'm no expert in certain things. Like where it comes to Afghanistan, I'm no expert. I've done time in foreign countries, but that doesn't mean that I understand Afghanistan. So people like Drew Berquist may very well understand Afghanistan a heck of a lot better. In fact, I expect him to understand Afghanistan a whole lot better than me. So I'm not sitting here telling you that in all of these things I'm some sort of expert. But I am going to tell you that I'm going to make up my own mind, and I'm going to use the best conclusions that I can find. And when I see people throwing stuff out there and I go, that isn't right. Like I say, oh, you want me to lock down again? Oh, you want me to wear masks? Oh, you want me to social distance? Let me just point something out to you. COVID-19 is still there. I don't care if it's another variant. It's still COVID-19. It's still out there, and we're still dealing with it. If you think lockdowns and social distancing and masks have helped, I urge you to look at the world around you and honestly come to that conclusion. And the same applies to vaccines. Look, I'm not anti-vax. If you want to get a vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine, if you want to get 25 boosters, that's totally on you. Well, you and your medical professionals, of course, right? And that's fine. I'm okay with that. What I'm telling you is I'm not looking to be protected like that from COVID-19, even if I felt like what you were offering actually offered protection. So, who really decides? I submit that it's you for you and me for me unless we are not mentally all there. Hope you're having a good day today and everything is going well for you. This is the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I'm Kurt, and today is Tuesday, the 5th of October of 2021. That means tomorrow we hit that hump day, that Wednesday, 6th of October of 2021. Well, thank you for everyone who's been here on Rumble, on the podcast and YouTube. There I am with welcome again. Welcome, like I say, but I have a feeling you're almost gone by this point. Remember, Rumble is my preferred platform. You can give me a boxing glove or a plus on Rumble, or a for a positive feedback, or a minus for a negative feedback if you feel the need to do that. You can give me a thumbs up or a like or a thumbs down or a dislike. That's positive feedback, or negative feedback on YouTube if you choose to do that. I value anybody leaving comments for me because it gives me an opportunity to see what other people think, and that's important to me too. The subject today has been who really decides, and tomorrow we're going to talk about the subject of consolidation, and I don't know if you're going to be sort of surprised by my perspective here. Maybe so, but if you are, you probably don't know me that well. My perspective will become obvious. I'm mostly, quote, against what I would term consolidation, and I explain what I mean by that I'll explain it in my video tomorrow. Hopefully you'll get a chance to see that. Hopefully we will see you again on Wednesday's edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video was recorded on Tuesday, the 5th of October of 2021. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, or maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that, and you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S, .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.